Hello and welcome to another set of Satoshi's Talks. I have with me today Alex, the chap that we spoke to just the other day. Everybody reported in, said they really enjoyed the podcast. So as the numbers gone up, we are going to have another chat again. So let's get into it. But before we do, experience the best of both worlds today at betbitcoinsv.com, the best casino and sports betting on chain. Have a look fluttering private using the original protocol and genuine Bitcoin. Right, let's cue the music.
Satoshi, like a cowboy in the West, riding on the blockchain that they call the very best. 1 million strong and transactions flying free. Just wait for the Terra node, you'll surely see.
Here we go. We are live, streaming live actually. Alex, are you there?
I'm here.
All right, mate. How is it going?
I'm not too bad. How are you, Satoshi?
Yeah, mate. How were the responses from our last podcast that we did? Did you get anybody like emailing you, or like did he read any comments under the video? I actually got a really positive response. Really positive.
Oh, really? That's great.
Yeah.
I mean, I showed a few of my friends, and they thought it was great. And I read some of the comments, and it seems like it's pretty positive. So I think it's all positive.
Yeah. Well, I'll tell you what else is positive, and that is the number going up. To see if I can bring up Bitcoin. There we go. Look at that. So a preview literally just a few seconds ago was $73 in the top left corner of the screen. We're just looking at live coin watch now, which is $72.19. Which price comparison chart do you normally look at, or do you have a preference for?
I use Coin Market Cap a lot, and then I have an app on my phone where you can kind of play around and have favorite coins that you look at.
Yeah. Actually, I've just brought up CoinMarketCap there. I usually use CoinMarketCap for looking at the tether printing. You know.
Yeah.
I mean, if you want to know what's going on in the market, so it started off at the beginning of the week, $123 billion, and it's now gone up to 127. You know,
that's
like
just madness.
Yeah, $5 billion. I mean, $5 billion in a week. Honestly, absolutely insane. And, you know, you speak to any of these shitcoiners and they have no idea. You know, I mean, literally, I still hear some of the most outrageous speculative pieces of bullshit when people are trying to explain this to me, because, you know, even now, well, actually, I mean, I could probably put them in their place, but, you know, when Bitcoin first came out, because Craig had to, you know, let the network grow organically for a period of 10 years, there was nobody that could tell anybody whether they were right or wrong. So you've literally got every man and his dog throwing their 2 cents into the ring and nobody to tell them that they're wrong. So you've literally got all these people with all these weird and wonderful and utterly wacky ideas about what it is. I even had some people sort of like trying to tell me that the blockchain was this thing in sort of like cyberspace that nobody had control over. And I was like, you what? Like, honestly, you know, so I was like, oh, where's that stored? Oh, well, it's stored on the blockchain. Oh, well, where's that? Well, it's in cyberspace. Like, mate, honestly, you know, I mean, this was, not only has my journey through Bitcoin been a journey of discovery about Bitcoin and economics, it's also been a journey of learning about people and how they think, because I thought I was relatively normal until I spoke to these people out there, and I'm just like, how can we be so different? You know, to me, I'm just like, you know, up is up, down is down, right is right, left is left, and they're just like, no, up is down, left is right, right is left, and all this crap, and I'm just like, oh my god, you know what?
Man is woman and woman is man.
Exactly, yeah. You know, it's like these days, you know, 2 + 2 = 5, and you know, like, oh yeah, no doctors can describe what a woman is and all this crap. Like, oh my god, you know. So, tell us about some of your experiences that you've had of things like that.
It's the exact same thing. I mean, well, you can see that in the United States, they have some schools where they're putting litter boxes for the children that identify as cats. So,
oh my god,
you know, that's the type of people we're attracting, right? Because when you see all the profits that some people are making, of course, most people are losing money, getting absolutely wrecked.
Yeah.
But it's just attracting everybody, and they have no idea what they're doing. It's just ridiculous. I mean, look at the names of the coins: Shiba Inu, Dog with Hat, Bonk, Flocky.
Yeah, I was just
Peanut the
thinking, yeah.
squirrel has its own coin. It's ridiculous.
And they've even got. I've just brought up an article here by Bitcoin.com News saying meme coins take 2024 by storm. Sector explodes with $93 billion growth. Now, bearing in mind that these meme coins are absolutely, utterly worthless. Utterly worthless, and yet they're saying that the sector is expected to explode with a $93 billion growth. Have you got any speculative ideas about where that is coming from?
Yeah, it's, first of all, there's a lot of inflation, so that has to go somewhere.
What,
And there's
inflation
a
with
lot of
tether?
it's going into, well, with Tether, but with all the currencies, all the fiat currencies too, they're printing it like crazy. And people are speculating, and you could see it in the stock market too, with crazy stocks going up that are worthless. So all that money has to go somewhere. And then of course you have Tether, and which is backed by literally almost nothing. So it's got to go somewhere, the money, and it's going into crypto and meme coins. But unfortunately, most of these people are going to get wrecked.
Well, I mean, yeah, a lot of people are going to get wrecked, but I actually honestly think it's the, call me a crazy conspiracy theorist. I think it is the cabal that has got their claws into Tether that is just simply pumping the shit out of these things to get everybody involved and talking about them and speculating on them and trying to trade them and figure out what's going on as literally nothing more than a distraction away from genuine Bitcoin. That's the way
Oh,
I see it.
you're absolutely right on that. 100%, I agree with you. Some of this, some of it, they're still making money by pumping these things because it's
Yeah,
the little people that get wrecked, right? They have
yeah,
the
yeah.
best measuring system. They control the price, so they can draw in the liquidity, and then when the liquidity is there, they sell it at the high point, and then everybody else gets wrecked. So, but yeah, one of the aspects of it is kind of taking the attention away from BSV, so the real Bitcoin, and just that's how they keep it down. On that point, you mentioned in one of your last shows that you thought they were, it's coming to an end because they don't have that much left. How close do you think we are? How much BSV do you think they have left to manipulate?
Well, so they stole all the BSV from the major exchanges customers in 2019 due to the delist
Yeah,
BSV campaigns that they orchestrated.
you're right.
And I can't remember when it was. It might have been when Craig had his Pro Forstus account or CS, right? I can't, I can't remember when it was. It's one of these moments where you think, "Oh, that's interesting," but I didn't make a record of it. But Craig actually posted, about them, having all this BSV that they got from the, orchestrating the D-list BSV campaigns, and he
Right.
said they're running out of them, and I'm sure this was, 18 months, kind of like 2 years ago, when he said that they were running out of them. And so we're
Okay.
now we're now 2 years on, which means their supplies literally could have been utterly depleted by now. And I suspect
Right.
that they probably thought that they probably would have got rid of BSV by now, in the same way that they thought they could get rid of BTC. Because what they do, if they want anything, what they normally do is they normally pump it and dump it, and the moment they pump it and dump it, people lose faith in it, they lose interest, they sort of walk away with a sore head, and they never really come back to it. But Bitcoin has kept on bouncing back, because even if you look back at its history, like going right the way back to like 2010, even when it was kind of like going up to a pound, or a dollar or something like that, it would have massive retraces. It'd go to like a dollar back to like 20 cents. So I mean,
Yeah.
there were
Yeah.
huge pump and dumps at the time, with
Oh yeah.
people putting their funds in, until they went astronomical in 2017, where it went right up to $17,000, and then back down to like $6,000. and then in the what was it 2023, they went up to like 60,000 and back down, and now
Yeah.
we're back up to 90,000. I honestly thought, or I honestly suspect, that they probably thought they could have got rid of BSV by now, because they've orchestrated the delist BSV campaign. They've done this, like, Craig Wright is a scammer, he's a fraud, he's being declared by a judge in a trial to not be Satoshi Nakamoto. He's fake Toshi, and I mean they have literally thrown the kitchen sink at BSV,
Yeah.
to get rid of it.
Including corrupting the courts and things like that.
Yeah, all of that. So I actually suspect, and somebody was actually talking to me the other day saying, do you think that Elon Musk might actually be holding it, because surely they can't be that stupid as to not see it? Michael Saylor might. Do you think that he's have some? And I was just like, well, let me think. So probably back in 2018, when BSV first started, Calvin was purchasing, and again, I can't remember where I saw this. I read it somewhere and I saw the figures. He was purchasing something like $36,000 a week of BSV. And even Craig said, look, it's basically Calvin that's keeping this thing alive, because he's the only one.
Right.
He's the only one that's buying it. But he couldn't purchase more than $36,000 a week, because there wasn't really too much more to purchase than that. And if you were going to purchase more than that, you'd effectively shoot yourself in the foot, because you would spook the market and start pushing the price up. You get speculators on board. So he was doing as much buying as he could under the radar, so that the market wouldn't see it. And although for the average Joe, $36,000 a week seems like a lot of money, it's only 1.8 million a year, and 1.8 million when you're a billionaire is nothing.
Yeah, that's peanuts.
Yeah, because a billion is 1,000 million. You got 1,000 million, and you can only put 1.8 million in per year. You're going to get incredibly frustrated.
Yeah. No, it's man, the whole scene is ridiculous. But the same goes for the stock market and even fiat currencies, gold and silver. They always use the same dirty tricks, and they've been doing it with gold and silver for decades, where they're suppressing the price. Well, they're using the same tricks, and it's the same people, right? And the same people who own the Federal Reserve, are the same people who own Tether, and they have these tools where they can just print money out of thin air and do whatever the heck they want. And they own the people who regulate as well. So they're constantly playing around with that, saying, oh, they're going to regulate. Oh, no, they're not going to regulate anymore. And they keep switching things. They keep running it in the media. And so they're making loads of money. But I believe that it's soon coming to an end. I believe they don't hold too much more BSV. They probably still hold a little bit. And they're losing control. In the same way, they're losing control of lying to people. The mainstream media is dying. I mean, CNN has lost huge amounts of viewers. I don't know if it's like 80% of their viewership. So I think we're not that far off. What do you think?
Well, I mean, I certainly think that things are going to come to a head soon.
Yes.
But and also, I mean, crikey, when people realise that BSV is actually Bitcoin. The sort of point I was making with Calvin buying $60,000 a week is that if he was buying $60,000 a week, there was no room for any other billionaire to be getting in and buying that amount, because that would be if he's buying 36, that would be $72,000 a week. And you would they would see the price. So basically, Calvin was buying up all the available supply. From 2018, almost like right the way through until he ended up purchasing Tau. And another thing, I mean, may as well just get your opinion on this. I mean, Calvin is a billionaire, and even billionaires do not like being made a fool of. And billionaires can afford researchers to go and do their research for them. And the researchers, obviously, if they're wrong, Calvin's never going to use them again, and they're going to effectively lose a client. So the researchers that he's using have got no reason to mislead him or misguide him or anything like that, or even lie to him. And if you wanted to make doubly sure and just make sure that your researchers absolutely did everything, I mean, what's a million when you're a billionaire? It's a
Yeah,
thousands of
it's
your
nothing.
investment, and if you're gonna put a lot of investment into this thing and buy it, surely you would spend a couple of million on your researchers just making sure that Craig is Satoshi Nakamoto, Bitcoin is BSV. I mean, it just boggles me that somebody would go, oh yeah, Calvin's a scammer. I'm just like, well, he's a billionaire. Like, what reason does a billionaire have to go out and scam people? You know?
Yeah, I mean, it's everything is lies. The whole thing, it's totally ridiculous. I mean, just watching the court case with Judge Meller, and the report that was kind of made by Copa themselves. The whole thing is just beyond ridiculous. I mean, for just only for me, a layman looking into this, it's totally clear that Craig is Satoshi. So, as you said, a guy who has $1 billion, he's not just going to throw money at something when he's not sure about it. He's going to get the best people around him doing research, and he's going to make sure, and he's sure of it. And he's already put quite a bit of money into this. Um, I'm sure they're getting some of that money back with mining and stuff like that. But for sure, for now, he's at a loss. But when you have something like this that is literally, has infinite potential in terms of how much money you're going to make, he's going to go all the way. I believe he's going to really, he'll put even another 100 million in it, because this is worth billions and billions, maybe tens of billions, hundreds of billions, who knows,
Yeah,
right?
absolutely. And then also, not only is he going to put all this time and money into it, he's obviously going to want a return on his investment. You
Of
know,
course, yeah,
so he's going to make sure that he's extremely confident in what he's doing.
exactly.
Why would you risk? I mean, a scam is a scam because it's worthless, and what you do is at the end of the day, the curtain gets pulled back, people realise that there's nothing there and it's a load of shit, and then everything collapses. Whereas
Yeah,
with this thing, it's already tested, 1 million transactions per second. They're literally scaling on chain, increasing uncapping the block size, so that effectively an unlimited amount of data can flood up onto the network, so it can actually be used. It just baffles me that anybody, and also having spent all this money on CoinGeek as well, these people, I don't know what you want to call them really. Sheeple guess, they're just like, oh yeah, somebody says that Calvin's a scammer and he's a paedophile. It's just like, and what's that got to do with Bitcoin?
yeah, yeah. Yeah, no, well, there's a lot of social engineering too, right? They have all these kind of writers online who talk about crypto, and you see these articles pop up, and it's funny because when you watch the articles come up, they're trying to pump the price so people buy in, and that's when they sell. And then when the sentiment is negative by the writers, that's when they buy, because people are selling, they buy it up. So they're putting a lot of information out there, um, and trying to manipulate the price of various things. So yeah, the potential of this thing is almost infinite, and he's going to keep going. He's going to keep investing, and Bitcoin, sorry, BTC, Greg Coin, has reached a certain level now where it's getting more and more difficult to pump the price like that. So it requires more and more, velocity, more and more funds. And yeah, they can keep printing tether, but the more you need to pump the price, the more money you need to do that as well. And eventually, this scheme is going to come to an end. And I don't think we're that far off. I think we're less than 5 years away. but it could happen at any time. Sometimes it happens sooner than you expect. So I'm really positive about this. Of course, right now BSV is the price is increasing a little bit, but not as much as it should, obviously, because they're, as you said, they're taking the attention away and putting it into shit coins, meme coins, whatever you want to call them.
Mm.
And the sheep are investing, and a lot of them are going to get wrecked. And it's really sad because, people are going to lose a lot of money. These are just normal everyday people, while the criminals are getting more money. It's sad, frustrating. It pisses me off too.
Well, it's going to be interesting to see where the finger of blame ends up landing and whose shoulders it lands on. But I mean, can you see the chart that I'm looking at right now? Because I know I'm live
Yes.
streaming. Yeah, yeah. So just looking at this, the downward line, it looks like the
Right.
the price was kind of like breaking out and come up, and then they were pushing it down. And then it's gone
Yep.
down further. Then it's broken out again, and then they've pushed it down. This looks like a concerted effort to keep
Yes.
downward pressure on the price, and it looks like they've blown the bollocks in. Like literally at this bottom bit, you probably see where the cursor is in just a second.
Yeah.
This literally looks like they've actually run out. Like literally, they're just like, right, let's push this thing. We've got nothing to lose now. Boom! Oh shit, we've got nothing left. And then
Yeah. Yeah.
the price is broken out. It's stabilized effectively against BTC, and now it's on its way up.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah, it's that first part of the chart. It looks totally unnatural. I mean, you have these green candles upwards,
Mm.
and then you see it being pushed down, and then another green candle. It looks very unnatural, that chart. So it does look like manipulation, although, of course, we can't necessarily tell from the chart. But it looks like the price is trying to go up, and it keeps
Yeah,
getting pushed down,
yeah,
and then
yeah.
boom, it goes. They let it go all the way back up to retrieve its almost its original position. So, anyways, it's clear in my mind that they're manipulating this thing. They're trying to keep it down with all their might and all the tether that they can print. And they're
Yeah.
also, every time you see some sort of movement, they end up pumping up Bitcoin, BTC, Greg coin,
Yeah.
and all the other shit coins too. So now, what's been pumping a lot lately is XRP and XLM.
Yeah.
That's been going up really quickly.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
they're taking the funds, the liquidity that they've drawn into BTC, and they're pumping up XRP now. So they're going to make more money on the other coins that they're holding, while taking the
Jeepers.
attention away from BSV. Yeah, do you see that?
Yeah, 104% in 7 days.
Yeah,
XRP. Oh my
it's insane.
god. Oh
And
my god.
Dogecoin too. Dogecoin has what was it? Doubled in like a month or something like that.
Yeah, yeah,
Uh,
yeah.
Tripled maybe.
183% in 30
Yeah.
days. Oh my god.
So almost tripled. So I mean, they are manipulating things. It's very obvious, while trying to kind of draw the attention away from the real Bitcoin. And they can only do this for so long. You know what's really disgusting too is the regulators. I mean, where the hell are they? Well, I mean, they're
Yeah.
obviously controlled by the military-industrial complex as well, but it's just disgusting. You do something like this in the stock market, I mean, you're going to get caught a lot quicker. So,
Well, yeah. Well, apart from the big dogs, the flash
yeah,
crash May 6th,
yeah.
2010, where a
Oh
trillion
my
trillion
God.
dollars was wiped off the stock market before it bounced right back. Nobody, actually, no. Do you know who they blamed for that?
No, I don't.
Some poor Asperger's kid in London who still lived with his parents in his bedroom.
I mean,
Literally,
it's ridiculous.
yeah, I think Navinder Sarao. Navinder Sarao was his name. This poor kid whose computers were turned off while the flash crash was actually happening. This poor Asperger's kid from Hounslow. They blamed for
Yeah,
wiping $1 trillion off the stock market. It's an absolute joke, and they got away
yeah,
and they got away with it because they
it,
they
of
found a
course,
scapegoat.
of
Unbelievable.
course. They did something similar in France too. We had this major problem with this large bank, Société Générale, Society General. It's a French bank,
Mm.
where they had all these traders who were making, millions and stuff, and then there was a big crash, and the bank lost uh, hundreds of millions of euros or something like that, and so they had to bail out the bank. Well, obviously, the bank blamed everything on this trader. His name was Jerome Kerviel,
Right.
and he took the whole blame. But
Oh
well,
my
so why are
god.
you allowing him to trade with hundreds of millions of dollars without any type of security? His management didn't get into trouble. Like, I mean, it's always the same thing, and people buy it too. That's how ridiculous it is.
Yeah, it's actually just got me thinking. Like the famous trader, yeah, well, the rogue trader Nick Leeson, who brought down Bearings Bank. I
Mhm.
just there has to be other people. You literally just
Yeah,
they were throwing this money at him, and he was saying that they were hiding trades and all. I mean, fair enough. You are going to get these rogue traders, but it just makes you think, how orchestrated this, because there always seems to be a bigger, more nefarious source behind the scenes, knowing what's going to happen. For example, like the Great Depression, 1929. All
yeah,
everybody, like J.P. Morgan and all the banks and all that, they got their money out months before the crash started. Months before,
yeah,
because they knew they were going to orchestrate it, because they shrank the amount of currency in the US economy by a third. And of course,
yeah,
if you shrink the supply, you're going to get a massive crash, because it's those excessive amounts that are basically propping the market up. So if nobody's got
yeah,
any excess cash or currency to prop the market up, because they need to spend it on putting a roof over their head and getting food on the table, of course prices are going to be massively suppressed and come down. And then if you can print an infinite amount of currency, because you're the one that owns the central bank, you're just going to swoop in and buy the majority share in all these companies, and
yeah.
basically get a controlling stake in them.
Yeah, I mean, it's always the same thing. And you know what? JP Morgan almost always seems to be involved. I mean, in 2020, they admitted to wire fraud for unlawful trading in precious metals, future contracts. And they've already paid 920 million in criminal penalties. So it's always the same people. It's always the same methods. And they make money, and they pay these fines that are tiny for them. They made more than 10 billion doing this, but they pay maybe 1% or 5% of the money they've already made. So
Yeah,
it
yeah, yeah,
doesn't
yeah.
dissuade. You got to throw people in prison. That's if there's no prison attached to it, then they're just going to keep doing it forever. So
Has
it's just
Jamie Dimon
ridiculous.
stepped down from
Uh,
whichever bank he was at?
I don't think he's stepped down yet.
No.
I don't think so. No. I mean, he's the guy who said, right, if anybody in my company trades crypto, I'm gonna fire them. Manipulated the price downwards, bought a whole bunch of it, and then made the price go up, and then made millions off of it too, right? Just straight up lying to the public, manipulating the price, and then
Oh,
investing in it.
I've got.
Total scumbag.
I've just found the article here. Check this out. So this was May 21st. I missed this one. So Jamie Dimon could step down sooner than expected. Here's
Yeah.
who could run the country's biggest bank. I'll just
Oh
reject.
man.
Here we go.
Yeah, I mean,
Yes. So it says
ridiculous.
J.P. Morgan Chase CEO Jamie Dimon has bumped up his retirement plans. The longtime head of America's largest bank said Monday, Dimon is one of the most well-known and closely listened to CEOs in the world. Over the course of his tenure at J.P. Morgan Chase, he's become somewhat synonymous with the largest U.S. bank by assets. Right, so yeah, I'm guessing he has actually stepped down, and I'm wondering if this is anything to do with the price of silver being suppressed, and the number of short positions on silver, and the bank actually not having enough silver to actually fulfill the orders. So if silver were to actually increase in value, they'd effectively go bust. because
Yeah,
they've
yeah.
been trading paper
I,
silver pretty much.
I love it that you're talking about silver because that was one of my topics that I wanted to talk to you about. So, if we look at Warren Buffett, for instance, he's sold a whole bunch of his stock. He's
I
sitting on
heard
a
that.
huge
Yeah, yeah.
pile of cash. So, he knows that something's coming. And silver recently went up. The price went up. And now these record shorts is it something? I think it's something like 400 to 1, or maybe even more than that, paper to actual physical silver. So these banks are sitting on huge losses, and this could take down the whole banking sector. I mean, we've already seen some of the banks fall recently. I can't remember the name. Was it First something? I can't. It slips my mind right now. But some of the banks have fallen, and recently there are two or three more that have fallen. So there's a ticking time bomb right now in the silver market. I see silver exploding in the next 6 months, and I see a huge crash coming. And I think it could take out a lot of the crypto or the shit coins as well. I think a lot of those are going to die. There's a huge crash coming, and people should be invested in gold and silver and BSV because I think you touched on this point so many times. When the crypto market goes down, that value has to go somewhere, and there's nowhere else to go in terms of utility than BSV. And that brings me to also another question or something I want to talk to you about related to your discussion you had with Bruce Thompson the other
Right.
day. Well, I thought he was asking the right questions, but unfortunately, I don't think he understands Bitcoin well enough quite yet, because he was talking about how can we bring this to Donald Trump and Elon Musk? How can we convince them to kind of invest in this? Can they take control of it? Um, and so he didn't quite understand. But I don't know if he's going to listening to your next podcast. But what I want to say, I don't know if he's a business guy or whatnot, or what kind of connections he has. But the way Donald Trump and Elon Musk can profit from this and kind of help their own country is very simple. It's the same people that they're fighting right now are the same people in charge of BTC and Tether and all those things. And the way they can kind of profit off of this is by building the infrastructure. So there's so many ways they can do that. I mean, if you take the functionality of BSV, you integrate it into Truth Social and into Twitter, and you allow those like buttons, those micropayments, you are going to have the first social media system where your kind of your content is monetized, right? And you can have people who are owning their own content, and if they get 100,000 followers and like 100,000 likes, let's say they could set it to a cent or set it to whatever they want, they make $1,000 per video, right? The other thing they can do to kind of profit from this and to help their country is to build the on and off ramps, because we've tried so hard to do this, but of course the banks are not allowing it. But if Donald Trump gets involved, builds the on and off ramps, takes the fees, to get all those fiat currencies, US dollar, I'm sure he could do multiple different currencies. He takes a fee every time you buy a BSV with your dollars or you exit. They could make billions on this just by virtue of building, the on and off ramps.
Yeah, yeah,
So
yeah, yeah.
I think I was starting to think about, how we can get those people involved or how we can convince them. I mean, once Elon Musk, if, like you said, maybe already knows and maybe already owns BSV and maybe he's already building the functionality. But if he doesn't, people need to tell him, listen, this is the only system where you can have micropayments like this at such low fees. You build the exchanges right now. At the same time, you slowly buy into the BSV, start accumulating, under the radar, kind of like Calvin build these exchanges, integrate the functionality into your Twitter, and boom, you announce it. And not only that, Trump can then have press conferences, have his military do the research, gather all the evidence, and declare to the world, listen, here's the evidence. Craig is Satoshi Nakamoto. and BSV is the real Bitcoin. And boom, he already has already 2-3 steps ahead. He's got the exchanges, the on and off ramps. They have this Truth Social and they have the Twitter with the functionality. Everybody's going to flow into it. All the conservatives, you saw how they went into Truth Social, right?
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm guessing the thing is that this realization about Bitcoin being BSV is going to come at once because it's purposely been hidden by these fraudsters,
Yeah.
and Blockstream.
Yeah.
Everybody's saying, "Oh, Craig Wright's a scammer" and all this kind of stuff. I
Yeah,
mean,
no. Well, all this deep state, it's the same people they're fighting right now in the government. They're the same people that are lying and talking about Craig as if he's a fraudster. I don't know if you what's the guy's name who does a lot of mining too? I can't. He covered the court cases as well. Sorry, I can't remember. It's slipping my mind again. He's in the BSV kind of sphere. What's his name?
oh, what Kurt
Yeah,
Gorilla
Kurt
Pool?
Walker. So
Yeah,
So yeah, so Kurt Walker. I mean, shoot, I lost the point I was trying to say. Um, yeah, shoot, I forgot my point. What was my point? Sorry about
it's all right,
that.
mate. It
Yeah,
happens
no,
on
I
live
mean,
broadcasts.
yeah, this happens. No, they definitely need to start to. Well, here's the thing. So if they, oh, he was talking about how uh, Epstein was linked to BTC. Have you heard about that in the past?
Actually, yes, I do have a vague memory of the, yeah,
Yes,
because it was he financed the investment in Blockstream. I think it was through the likes of AXA Insurance.
that's exactly it. Okay, so I mean, it's very evident that it's the same people who are doing this that are also fighting against Trump. So it's also in his kind of interest to get this going because he's going to take down a lot of those actors by destroying BTC. So that's another point to convince him. You know.
Well, do you remember that statement that somebody said the other day, saying that buying buying cryptos is risky because the market gets pumped and dumped. But
Yeah.
buying BSV is also risky because anybody who purchases it thinks that they can go up against and beat the cabal. you know?
Right.
And I was just
Right.
like, yeah, I mean that's actually pretty insane. But the question I keep asking to myself, like right now, is what exactly are the cabal gonna do? Like I said, they've already thrown the kitchen sink at this thing.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
they
There's not
don't
much
have
left.
global they don't have global jurisdiction yet because they haven't
No.
installed their one world government, so
Yeah.
they can't ban
Yeah.
it.
And there's a lot of infighting too. It's more complex than just the deep state military industrial complex. They also all have their own interests. I mean, if you take
Yeah,
China, for instance,
yeah.
they have their own interests. Russia has their own interests. And so it's a little bit more complex than just one big cabal. So I think it's in Donald Trump's best interest to, start investing in this, building exchanges, integrate the functionality into Truth Social, and then he can even control the flip. I mean, if Donald Trump comes out and says, "Listen, here's the military, here's all the evidence we have. This is the real Bitcoin." I mean, they have access to the best research and stuff. They can pull up all kinds of stuff. He can, by virtue of doing a press conference like that, flip the interest into BSV while accumulating slowly in the background and already preparing the functionality. And then boom, and then he takes control of one of the most powerful weapons out there, which is an kind of a corruption-free money system on top of other things, of course, monetizing your content and things like that. And then on top of it, when you have this system that requires no middleman, you're going to have all kinds of economic growth. I mean, imagine everybody in the United States using BSV as money, not having to pay fees to credit card companies, all these leeches that draw so much money concentrate it into the hands of the few. No, all that money will no longer be drawn out. So you have everything becomes more efficient. Everything is on the blockchain where you cannot cheat and you can't print fake money. And then you can do all your purchases with crypto electronically. I mean, you don't need anything else really. So I think it's in their best interest. And anyways, if Mr. Thompson's listening or anybody else, if you have any contacts with these powerful people, you got to explain this to them because, I mean, it's going to help them fight the cabal. It's going to help the United States. It's going to help the world. And then last show we talked about it too. It's going to help the poorer people in Africa. I mean, these people will be able to sell their manpower. They'll be able to sell their skills all around the world for a fraction of a cent, a thousandth of a cent in fees. And if you or me, we need a translation, we can send it to Africa. Boom, they do the job. We get it done at a cheaper rate. The power of this thing is infinite, and the potential is infinite.
Yeah. The only thing with that is that I think if someone were to be held responsible, or the finger of blame pointed at them for bursting this BTC bubble that is nearing $2 trillion in value. I mean, $2 trillion, mate. That is insane. Because I mean, Bernie Madoff's Ponzi scheme was 60 billion, and that's 60 billion. Whereas a trillion is 1,000 billion. 1,000 billion, let alone Bernie Madoff 60, and we saw the devastating consequences that had. And this is nearing $2 trillion. Like it wouldn't be safe for someone. I mean, this is why the cabal wanted Craig to move a coin, because they know full well if he did move a coin and it popped the market, the finger of blame would land squarely on him, and people would just simply see red. They wouldn't say, "Oh, hold on a minute. Well, he's Satoshi Nakamoto." And he created Bitcoin, and he's been telling everybody that BTC is a scam all along. So who is it that created BTC? It's almost like people these days don't have the intellectual capacity to think critically. All they would be is like, I've lost all this money. I've lost. Who's responsible? And they're just simply looking to wail on somebody without even thinking about it. So it wouldn't be safe for someone like Donald Trump to suddenly announce to the world, Bitcoin is BSV, because you've got $2 trillion on the line.
That's a good point. That's a very good point. But nevertheless, they could still build the infrastructure in the meantime, slowly accumulate in the background and kind of build it a little bit slower, because this crypto market is going to come to an end at some point. And seems like, at least Warren Buffett knows something, because he's sitting on a pile of cash waiting for things to explode. He got rid of a lot of stocks. And there's a lot of other billionaires and millionaires that are getting rid of stocks. So somebody knows something. I think there's a big crash coming. Maybe after the crash will be a good time to start, kind of pointing towards BSV. But that is a very good point. You don't want to be the person who took down the market.
Yeah, well,
everybody's going to be pissed.
I've just found this article here actually by AEP, I think that's Associated Press. And it said Warren Buffett is sitting on over $325 billion in cash as Berkshire Hathaway keeps selling Apple stock. But it says here is now sitting on more than $325 billion in cash after continuing to unload billions of dollars worth of Apple and Bank of America shares this year, and continuing to collect a steady stream of profits from all Berkshire Hathaway assorted businesses without finding a major acquisition. I mean, that's a huge. And I presume that $325 billion worth of cash probably won't be held in Bank of America.
No, definitely not. Definitely not.
So he's selling shares in Bank of America and storing his cash in like another bank somewhere.
He's probably slowly accumulating, precious metals, tangibles, right? Commodities and things like that in the background. I mean, people say he's sitting on a pile of cash. Yeah, but he's probably accumulating, tangible stuff in the background because that's what you want to do when there's going to be a big crash like that. I think there's a guy named Jim Rogers, billionaire, who's talks about it a lot. You want to hold commodities. You want to hold sugar. You want to hold alcohol. You want to hold
Hmm.
gold, silver. You want to hold real, tangible stuff because, yeah, the U.S. dollar is going to really go up in value because that's where initially the value goes when people sell off their stocks and things like that. But eventually, that USD is going to go into tangible things, and it's also going to lose a huge amount of value. Not to mention, everything that's going on with the BRICS nations. They're starting to create their own currency. Russia has been accumulating silver like crazy too recently. So if Russia's accumulating, tons and tons of silver, that means they know something's coming too. They're also putting pressure on the American banks that way, who have a record amount of shorts. Again, I think it was something like 400 dollars to $1 and paper to uh,
Whoa, really?
physical. Yeah, let's
Jeepers.
let's see if we can find that um, paper silver to um, physical.
Yeah, let me know when you find that one.
Yeah.
Um,
So just a quick Google search: paper to silver ratio is 398 to 1.
whoa,
So their
whoa.
banks are holding most of those shorts, right?
398 to 1. Can you send me that link in uh on our
Yeah.
chat
Sure.
here? So I'll just open up and bring it up on the screen.
Sure.
Wherever that's
Well,
coming.
we saw what happened with GameStop too, right? It's going to be something similar, right? You have
Yeah.
if you have a short squeeze on silver, I mean, you're taking out maybe not all the banks, but you're going to take out a huge portion of them.
Yeah, I mean,
Uh,
I mean, that's kind of like what they're hoping, isn't it? That's how
yeah,
centralization works and totalitarian controls, like destroy the
yeah,
market until there's just one left.
yeah. And the reason they're
Are you
doing
sending
that
that
is
link through?
because no, not yet. I have it here.
Can you
Let's
copy and
see.
paste it into?
Yeah, just give me a sec here. Um, okay, there it is.
Hey, there we go. That'll come up. There we go. Paper versus physical. 408 ounce paper silver to 1 ounce of physical silver.
Yeah,
Oh my god.
yeah. And
Oh
Russia's
my
buying
god.
up a lot of silver recently, right? The silver's being drained from the west and it's going to the east, going to China, it's going to India, it's going to Russia. Um, and this is a huge problem for the West because uh, you know, the way the deep state and the military industrial complex controls things is through the US dollar and the
Yeah.
Federal Reserve.
Yeah, yeah.
If they lose control of that, like they've already almost lost control of the mainstream media, they're done. They're absolutely done.
Yeah, yeah.
So that's why you're seeing this battle here, and that's really what's going on. They can't afford to lose control of that. So they keep shorting silver, they keep shorting gold, and you see that ratio keep getting bigger and bigger. I
Oh
suspect
my
it's a
goodness.
similar thing with BSV, right? They can't afford to lose control of BTC because they essentially they control it. BSV, you cannot control it like that. Craig and Calvin have more control over that. And of course, I think BSV has it's one of the cryptos or it's not a crypto, but in layman's terms for other people, it's one of the kind of the cryptos that has the most active addresses. So I think a lot of
Mm.
people are starting to realize this, and they're just waiting. Everybody's waiting. It's a waiting game right now.
Oh yeah, because Craig has also pointed out that there is more BTC for sale on exchanges than exists in real life. Because
Yeah,
there's only ever going to be 21 million BTC.
Yeah,
ever, and that's not going to be extracted until the year 2140. And he said that
yeah,
there's more BTC being traded on exchanges than there will ever exist. So clearly, some shenanigans is going on behind the scenes. People again trying to make profits from nothing.
yeah.
Trying to paper profits is basically what
Well,
it is.
it's always the same scheme, right? That's the same principle with silver as it is with BTC. It's fractional reserve. And the fractional reserve is getting smaller and smaller because that's why you get runs on banks, because the bank initially holds your gold and it gives you a note, which is equivalent to the amount of gold. But what they end up doing is that they sell a portion of the gold and they keep selling it. And eventually people realize this, they go to take their gold out, but for many it's too late. And then the bank goes belly up. And decades ago, we used to hang people like this, that people would get a hold of the bankers if they didn't flee quickly enough, and they would hang them to a lamppost. Like, this is coming in many areas where they've been manipulating things. Silver, gold, I'm sure platinum is the same thing. BSV, BTC, right? We saw recently what happened with FTX, right? It's the same principle. It's
derivatives.
fractional reserve. So there's a lot of things that are coming very soon. Who knows if it's in the next month or the next year? But Warren Buffett knows about it because he's sitting on a pile of cash, ready to buy everything up. So
Sly fox. It's always the big dogs at the top of the tree that know what's going to happen, because they basically control things. Like we learned about taxes the other day.
Absolutely.
Taxes basically allowed the moneyed classes to tax the poor. So those that already had the wealth and the economic power created a system to make the poor even poorer.
Absolutely.
And in fact, have you seen that Dave Chappelle sketch on Donald Trump?
About the taxes. Oh, that is hilarious. I'm a huge fan of Dave Chappelle. I think he's probably one of the best comedians of all time.
Oh, brilliant! Tell you what I'll do. I've got it here, so I'll just play it for anybody else who hasn't seen it. Here we go.
Brilliant.
A lot of you don't understand why Trump was so popular, but I get it, because I hear it every day. He's very loved. The reason he's loved is because people in Ohio have never seen somebody like him. He's what I call an honest liar. At first debate, I'd never seen anything like it. I've never seen a white male billionaire screaming at the top of his lungs, "This whole system is rigged." And across the stage was a white woman, Hillary Clinton and Barack Obama, sitting over there looking at him like, "No, it's not." I said, "Now, wait a minute, bro. It's what he said." And the moderator said, "Well, Mr. Trump, if in fact the system is rigged, what would be your evidence?" He said, "I know the system is rigged because I use it." I said, "God damn." And then Hillary Clinton tried to punch him in the taxes. She said, "This man doesn't pay his taxes." He shot right back. "That makes me smart." And then he said, "If you want me to pay my taxes, then change the tax code. But I know you won't, because your friends and your donors enjoy the same tax breaks that I do." And with that, my friends, a star was born.
There we go. Just got the end. With that, my friends, a star was born. Like, absolutely epic.
He's
Absolutely
brilliant.
Epic.
He is hilarious. I love Dave Chappelle, one of the funniest stand-up comedians out there of all time, I believe.
Oh, talking about funny comedians and stuff. Did you view these little videos that I posted up of Andreas Brecken? Because this was kind of like going back to 365 days of Bitcoin history. It happened the 15th of November was the hash war.
No, I haven't. So you know what's a little bit embarrassing is I don't have Twitter. So,
oh, seriously?
Yeah, so I'm gonna. Yeah, I know. But I'm gonna create an account because there's so much on Twitter that's just really valuable and just gold. So
great.
I'm gonna have to create an account.
Right. Well, so I'll tell you what he said. I'll just play this one because it's 1 minute, 27 seconds, and then I'll explain it to you after we've just played it. Here we go.
Okay.
I think the fact that we're doing centralized checkpointing to secure the chain is a huge loss. We should never have to do centralized checkpointing. The fact that we had to resort to that means like we fucked up. I do not consent to any centralized checkpointing. There should be none of them. Well, there should be one. It is called the Genesis block, If we're adding centralized checkpointing to ABC now to prevent a 51% from attack from SV, it means we fucked up.
Didn't Bitcoin Core have checkpoints up until I don't know when, but
they will fuck themselves. Why do we not have proof of stake? It's because when you connect to the network, it is impossible to know what is the real world of the blockchain, right? Because there's nothing at stake. You don't have an anchor, right?
Mm-hmm.
We have an anchor. It is called the Genesis block. That is our anchor. Any other anchor, checkpoint, or whatever you want to call it, that is a centralized authority telling us what is the chain. We should never have that, because if we issue a checkpoint every week, we don't need proof of work. We can have proof of stake.
That he actually made a really good point there. He was saying, look, if we're issuing a checkpoint every week, then we don't need proof of work. We can just simply have proof of stake. Yeah, because it's meant to be. It's the chain with the most proof of work on it. It's the proof of work that proves that there is utility on that chain that therefore outcompetes all the other chains, because data can only be commoditized one way, which means everybody is going to use that network where their digital data and their information is safe. So if anybody creates an alternative chain, that alternative chain is centrally controlled and is therefore, that digital network is economically worthless to anybody else. Therefore, people, their event over time, they're not going to use it, because developers will come along and they'll be like, actually, I can't build on that because it's permissioned, and I can't do this and I can't do that, and the protocol keeps changing. And that's basically what Andreas Brecken was saying right there. He was just like, look, we're putting this check. He said the fact that we have to checkpoint this means that, he said we fucked up. Basically, it means they've lost, because they have marked a chain that they are basically saying we now control. And the reason we put this here is because we are actually competing with the alternative chain, and we think that chain might outcompete us, and therefore what we're going to do is put a checkpoint in our one, so that the chain can't be the proof of work can't be reversed or rolled back or anything like that. Because we've effectively staked the chain and got rid of any competition, and I think that's why they the other networks, like when BTC produced, when BTC was created on the 1st of August 2017, they had to implement replay protection to prevent anybody's coins going back onto the main chain that they had forked away from.
Interesting.
And it was the same with BCH. It was BCH that had to implement replay protection because they were creating the alternative fork that forked away from the main chain. So it's literally, it's only BSV that literally goes right the way back to the Genesis block that no replay protection has been implemented on. Because it's never
essentially they've already lost. They just don't know it yet, and they're hanging on like an ex-girlfriend.
I think the fact that we're doing.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And there was another one as well where there was this guy. I'm just going to play this one. I wrote Andreas Brecken explains the Genesis block and witnesses one of the biggest proof of douchebag moments in Bitcoin history. When a developer described himself as, he's saying, we are trusted developers. So in other words, trust us because we are trusted developers. The whole point of there being a locked protocol is that you don't have to trust anybody. There is no third party to trust. And he's saying, well, we're trusted developers. You trust us. So I'll just play this bit so everybody can hear what I'm saying.
Yeah, like we're gonna trust you.
Yeah.
Of course.
Let's say you're spinning up a new node and it's and you want it to be completely trustless. The node has, as you just said, it has the Genesis block hard-coded. But nobody has the hash of the Genesis block memorized. So if you really what?
I do.
Andreas definitely does.
So if you really want your software to be, trustless, like you're going to have to go and verify that hash against some known good source, and then you have the issue of where's your known good source.
Come on. you didn't know. This is completely false. For example,
Or trust the developers.
no, you cannot hash the Genesis block by traditional means. It is hard-coded in by hex because it doesn't use the normal rules. That's why we hard-coded in.
There we go. So we said the Genesis block is hard coded in via hex. Because it's not hashed in the usual way of a block because it's an anchor, and so that's basically where your reference point is, which is the Genesis block. And this guy was saying, well, actually, you can check the hash with us because we're trusted developers.
What a joke!
Yeah, I mean, these guys are just absolutely clueless. I mean,
Just taking a piss there. Oh my god! Like, what? We're not gonna. You can't just trust a bunch of people like that. That's not how it works. What a totally ridiculous thing to say.
well, they seem to think that is how it works, and and these are the people that we're trying to argue with and explain Bitcoin to. They're just like, oh yeah, we can do anything we want to Bitcoin, and you can trust us because we're trusted developers. I mean, isn't that the argument that Blockstream put forward? It's the same. It's the same one. We trusted developers.
Just ridiculous. Oh my god.
I know. And check this out. So just quickly, we've been going for mate, we've been going for an hour already. Jeez.
Oh wow, this time flies by.
Yeah, it does, mate. Yeah, I even that shocked me actually. I was thinking it felt like 35 minutes, but yeah, no, it's an hour. There's an article here, Cointelegraph, saying a Bitfinex hacker sentenced to 5 years in prison, and I think this is actually related to the 2016 hack where suddenly Bitfinex realised that they could produce tether and nobody was regulating it and nobody gave a monkeys about it. So this is actually pretty big. So I'll just read this quickly. So it says, Bitfinex hacker sentenced to 5 years in prison. US authorities arrested, I think it's Layla Sitchenstein and his wife, Heather Morgan, in 2022 for laundering Bitcoin connected to the Bitfinex exchange. Layla Lichtenstein, the hacker who stole billions worth of Bitcoin from the crypto exchange Bitfinex in 2016, was sentenced to 5 years in prison. Washington, D.C. District Court Judge Colleen Cotelli sentenced Lichtenstein in a November 14th hearing after he pleaded guilty to conspiracy to commit money laundering in August 2023. In addition to jail time, Lichtenstein was ordered to serve 3 years of supervised release. Lichtenstein was facing up to 20 years in jail, but prosecutors had recommended he serve 5 years. 5 years down from 20, as he had no prior criminal history, gave substantial assistance in other investigations, and managed to launder only 25,111 Bitcoin BTC out of the 119,745 that he stole from Bitfinex, currently worth over $10.4 billion. With a cryptocurrency priced around $87,500. His wife, Heather Morgan, also known by her rapper alter ego. I think these two were actually set up, actually. I think I remember seeing a documentary on these two. They're just extroverts. I think they've been stitched up, personally.
I mean, I wouldn't be surprised to do it all the time.
Yeah, I remember seeing these two. They just don't strike me as being smart enough to actually engage in a hack. And then why would you engage in a hack and just have all your faces like literally all over social media drawing attention to yourself?
Yeah, they're a scapegoat. Sometimes they even take people to be scapegoats. They're like, we'll give you this amount of money if you just admit to this crime, and it happens all the time. So
yeah, because it was this crime that if they sort of scapegoat these two people, they're just like, oh, right, well, if we just blame those two, that means we can get away with carrying this on and not get blamed for it, and basically make Tether too big to fail.
Yeah,
which is the argument they're using now, because Tether's 125 billion,
oh my god,
and Tether's the only way that they can pump the BTC market and distract people away from the utility of BSV, Bitcoin, because there's only two ways that you can make the value of Bitcoin increase, and that is by getting people interested in using it, so there is genuine demand for it. But if there isn't genuine demand, because it's useless, you have to fake the price increase, which means you need a fiat currency of some sort to pump it, which is what they're just utilizing Tether for.
Absolutely. And they print it out of thin air because Tether is not backed. I mean,
Yeah.
nobody knows what percentage of US dollars they have backing it, right? But I can guarantee you it's not 100%. It's probably not even close to 50%. So,
Yeah.
this is all going to come to an end, like all these schemes, and it's going to be devastating for so many people, for institutions, you name it. It's going to take down entire economies, businesses. It's a ticking time bomb, and it's probably coming soon. I would think it's in the next year, but I mean, you never know. They've been dragging this along for a long time.
Well, I just thought actually, if these people can somehow, switch over into BSV, and purchase BSV below the market price of what BTC is right now, which is like 90,000, there could be potentially be an exchange without too much damage being done. But it's just I can't see that happening, because literally when the market starts to panic, there's literally just going to be a fire sale. People just go,
Yeah.
oh shit, get me out. And then obviously the supply of BSV is so restricted, I suspect the price would just go absolutely through the roof, because there's just no there's no supply there. Exchanges
Yeah.
aren't listing it. It's basic economics 101. You restrict the supply, the demand increases.
Yeah, yeah. It won't. And these types of things never happen gently. They always happen with panic, and it goes very quickly. As you said, there's first of all, there's no supply because nobody's selling their BSV at these make believe prices. The people who know about BSV, they know the value it has, and they're not selling. And then there's the point of sales. There's not that many. On that point, I just want to tell our fellow BSVers out there to be careful not to use the atomic wallet because I used it
Yeah.
the other day to do some swaps to try and get more BSV at a better rate. Because atomic wallet does have some pretty good rates when it comes to cryptos for swapping. And my stuff is stuck. I can still access it. I'm going to have to kind of import the keys and the phrases into probably into Electrum SV. So that means I'm gonna have to learn to use that one. But don't use the swapping system to get BSV on Atomic.
Yeah,
Anyways, that
I actually ended up going. I had somebody else who had that same issue. I
but
actually
yeah,
ended up going through their customer services because
yeah,
they were using the number one legacy address, and displaying it as Bitcoin Cash, and I was like, well,
yeah,
Bitcoin Cash addresses start with P or Q,
right,
so anybody who tries to send a Bitcoin Cash or a BSV to an incorrect wallet, stands a chance of their coins being lost.
right, right.
You know.
Okay. Have you looked at how you can extract it from the Atomic wallet back into a what's it called into Electrum SV? Do you know? Would you know how to do that?
You just simply have to get it off the exchange. But the good thing is when you try to do these swap, the fact is Atomic Swap will have it on their platform. So I think you just have to go through their customer services.
Okay. Yeah, well, they basically told me, see, if you look on chain, your coins are there, but it's just stuck, and you need to export um, your keywords and
That's
import them into Electrum
outrageous.
SV. Yeah,
Right, right. See, they
yeah.
should have fixed
So,
that. They should have fixed that problem a long time ago, and
well,
and they haven't.
I suspect this is done on purpose. I don't know for sure,
Mm.
but the same thing happened to me with Exodus.
Oh,
And it
really?
was at a point where I needed to take out some of those BSV funds. And they said, oh, we can't use it in our wallet. I suspect they do that to freeze the coins of some of the people who don't know how to use to export the stuff, which I don't know how to do it yet. I'll learn how to do it.
Well, to
But
be fair to Exodus, they fixed that now.
yeah, it's fixed
Yeah,
now. I know. Yeah, yeah, it fixed, but it was not working for months and months. And for
yeah,
the Atomic wallet, it's been there for a year.
yeah,
And
yeah.
so I brought in some shitcoin because I wanted to accumulate more BSV. And I swapped it for BSV, and now it's stuck, right? So why not deactivate the ability to swap for BSV if you know that it's going to be stuck?
Yeah,
No,
exactly.
they still have the swapping ability there. All they had to do is gray out or remove the ability to swap for BSV.
Yeah,
It's been there for a year. Why
yeah,
didn't they stop it? So
yeah.
yeah,
Good shout. Yeah. So
yeah,
I've just brought Atomic wallet up on the screen there, so people know which one
yeah.
to look out for. So,
Great.
on that note, because it's been 1 hour 10 minutes, we'll wrap this show up. This has been great, Alex. Really appreciate the chat. Thanks for coming on such short notice. You know,
Yeah.
we'll
No,
put this out on
honestly,
YouTube
thank
again
you.
anytime.
Yeah, let's do it again. I love these chats. Um, awesome. Let's just do it again.
Yeah, there's going to be loads to talk about. You know, numbers going to go up. I even had a few people message me today out of the blue that haven't contacted me for years. You know, just suddenly getting a random message. Oh, I see BSV's going up. It's like, oh,
Yeah,
right. You know, and then somebody else saying, oh, you know, I'm trying to buy it, but I'm having problems. You know,
yeah,
can you help me out? And it's just like, oh, right. You know, I wondered that
yeah,
something must be stirring because you know
yeah,
to have three or more, you know, effective like random mates that you haven't spoken to for a number of years, getting back in contact with you on the same day. You know, you're thinking, oh right, something must be stirring.
yeah. The word is spreading.
Yeah. Right, mate. Right, this has been awesome. So on that note, I shall bid you adieu and see you again soon, hopefully sometime.
Yeah, talk again
All right.
soon. Thanks again.
Cheers, mate. Have a good one. All right.
You
Bye.
too. Bye.
Oh, there we go. That was awesome. That was another chat there done with Alex. I hope everybody enjoyed it. That has been over an hour. It's over an hour and 10 minutes now. I'll probably come back and do a chart show tomorrow and then try and do a news report, you know, with some of these articles that I find. Keep that one under 15 minutes. But as ever, stay tuned and be aware, take care, stay safe out there, and we'll see you in the next one.